How to deepen knowledge of energy engineers from companies, the European project EUREMnext offers efficient know-how and tools, interactive e-learning courses, workshops, networking meetings, and international conferences collect new ideas for improving energy savings and renewable energy integration in companies. Nowadays, project EUREMnext also responds to a very actual and important topic that companies and organizations have to deal with. The topic of today's interview is ventilation and air conditioning during the pandemic of COVID. Our guests are Mr. Miloš Lain from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering of Czech Technical University. Welcome.
Hello.
And also Mr. Martin Raba from the company EUREMnext International. Welcome to you too.
Hello.
Mr. Lain, you focus on air conditioning and ventilation systems at the Czech Technical University. Could you please introduce your work and yourself a little bit?
I'm teaching in the Department of Environmental Engineering, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, Czech Technical University in Prague. There is more than 70 years tradition on this subject within this department. In the previous years, there was plenty of projects and other activities connected with ventilation, air conditioning, and indoor air quality. Also, in EUREM course, I am presenting the subject of ventilation and air conditioning since the start in Czech Republic in 2008. There were some interesting final projects connected with ventilation and air conditioning were in this course, and the recent one is the project of the Pavla Špérova about ventilation operation to decrease avoid transmission in the villa shops.
Is there any relation between the COVID-19 transmission and air conditioning and ventilation in buildings?
There is very strong connection according to recent development about SARS-CoV airborne transmission and long-range aerosol-based transmission presented by REHVA. The ventilation measures are the most important engineering approach to infection control. The physical distancing is important to avoid close contact. But the risk of airborne transmission and cross-infection over distances more than 1.5 meters can be reduced within the adequate ventilation and effective air distribution solutions. This is based on the European Centre of this year's Prevention and Control conclusions. They say that transmission of COVID commonly occurs in enclosed indoor spaces. There is currently no evidence of human infections through the ventilation system on air duct, and EVAC system may be complementary along decreasing the transmission of indoor space by increasing the rate of air exchange, decreasing air circulation, and increasing the use of outdoor air. Energy saving, such as demand control ventilation controlled by a timer or CO2 detectors, should be avoided in the COVID times, and considerable should be given to extending the operation of each HVAC system before and after regular period. Directed airflow should be delivered away from the group to individuals to avoid pathogen dispersion from inspection subject to transmissions. Therefore, increasing on ventilation rate and improving the flow patterns is our chance to decrease probability of SARS infection in the space.
We're recording this interview in days that are very hot. The temperature reaches above 30 degrees of Celsius outside. Some companies which use air conditioning, they sometimes forbid to ventilate by windows. Is this decision, according to you, correct?
It is not correct. Ventilation is important in all types of building not just because of the COVID. If there is no mechanical ventilation, the natural ventilation by window is necessary. Of course, during summer peak hours, the ventilation should be minimized. But in the morning and other time in the day, the ventilation on the other hand helps to remove the heat from the space, and it's necessary to use it.
Let's talk about the problem of air conditioning and ventilation in a specific case, because the organization REVE International has focused on a solution. So, Mr. Rabo, before you tell us more details, please offer us a short introduction about yourself and your work.
So hello everyone. I've been working in the field of building technology equipment for more than 25 years. In the last 10 years, I have been involved in solving the problem of optimal settings of these technologies in the sales areas of food supermarkets. Currently, I've been working for REVE International Group, where we also focus on the standardization of ventilation in the period of COVID-19 disease outbreak, and we do it on the international level.
What is the difference between this pandemic period and, let's say, the normal stage, the difference between these days and days before?
In the normal period, we had to concentrate for the normal ventilation standard that we had to, according to some legislative rules, we had to bring some special amount of fresh air to the markets. These days, it is necessary to concentrate especially on the proper ventilation, with emphasis on the places where the biggest concentration of the people occur. This is especially the area near the cash desks, where our customers wait to pay their purchases. We try to bring more fresh air into the area compared to the original pre-COVID state. We start ventilation on the store a few hours before their opening, and leave it running after the store is closed.
Are there any specific impacts according to your opinion?
Yes, we assume yes, as we have taken the recommendation of RIVA Association as the basis of settings up the systems. Currently in operation with colleagues from Czech Republic and the Technical University in Prague, we are testing different settings of our air conditioning systems. On one hand, we have to increase the amount of fresh air delivered to our customers, but on the other hand, we have to handle the risk of drafts for our colleagues sitting in the cash desks. Given the fact that we have had an ISO 50001 energy management system in place through the REVE group for several years, we are monitoring and we will be evaluating the energy impacts of this increased operation of air handling systems on the economic operation of individual stores at the end of this study. Our colleague Paula Šperová from Czech Republic will then evaluate in analysis in her final paper in this year's EUREM course for energy specialists. Based on the study is to measure the energy consumption of our ventilation system and analyze their productivity. As I mentioned before, the basis of the settings is the RIVA recommendation. Before our ventilation system start on 1000 ppm of CO2, now we are starting all the systems on 550 ppm. So it means that the systems are running more frequently and of course consumes more energy. All of it for sure brings some extra energy cost, but first data shows from our first measurement period, the data shows that compared to total market consumption, it is not so critical. The consumption is not so critical. So the point of keeping a good air quality standard on our markets is more important than the energy consumption.
Martin Raba from the company REVE International says, thank you very much for your time and for today's interview.
Thank you very much.
And also Miloš Line from Faculty of Mechanical Engineering of Czech Technical University was our guest today. Thank you for your time and for being there.
Thank you.
And we will focus on e-mobility in the next podcast of Project EUREMnext.